These sad words by Wheeler Dixon. With the popularization of color film, black and white is no longer commercially viable. I really do believe that black and white cinematography is a lost art. I'm on the side of John Frankenheimer, who directed great films from 1954 to 2002. He said, "In color, a lot is lost. The contrast, the shadows, the detail, the depth. When you're shooting in color, there's the temptation to stop shooting scenes and start shooting scenery." Three great modern directors who also embrace the beauty of black and white are Anton Corbijn, George Miller, and Alfonso Cuarón, whose film Roma we will be exploring shortly. Let's take a quick look at a timeline. As the cinema world was thrown into Technicolor in the 1950s and 1960s, black and white started to play second fiddle. It moved rapidly from front of house to the back seat of the cinema. Black and white has sadly become a rare pleasure, but for 83 years now we have had the luxury of color in film. It's now time for color to move to the back of the theatre for a season. For now, we've exhausted the achievable possibilities of color in film. And it's time to go back to the monochrome and duotone days. If you think it's a step in the wrong direction, just take a few moments to enjoy any of these monochrome classics. 8½, 12 Angry Men, Casablanca, Francis Ha, Nebraska, The Artist, Ida, The Lighthouse, Control, Roma. In fact, search for contemporary black and white films produced post-2000 and you'll actually find more than 300 of them. Monotone movies are wonderfully enthralling. In fact, by their nature, they are superior in storytelling, visualization, and meaning. Black and white is now actually the better medium to mirror emotion. Why? Well, firstly, imagine taking away the massive amount of color information that is thrown at your brain during a 90-minute film and replacing that information with the actual essence of the story, or the expressions of the actors, or the use of locations or props, or the mood or the emotions. Hey, we could even enjoy the audio and the soundtrack more. Secondly, this would also give our brains the chance to perceive colors the way we want to. We could be the ones who decide whether the actress has red or mousy hair, blue or green eyes. The ubiquitous Ferrari might not be signal post red for once, but actually turquoise. Third and most importantly though, we have recently reached a point in cinema where digital hardware paired with advanced software can put the quality, tone, mood and emotion into a story in a way that surpasses what color did to film in the 1950s. Yes, cinematic cameras can now shoot at resolutions of 6K, 8K and 12K. The large sensors and 14 stops of dynamic range pushes the black and white image into an era that has never been experienced before. No more grainy and jittery high contrast scenes, but smooth, silky, rich, detailed, monochromatic delights. The cinema goer definitely has an exciting adventure ahead. Color, as wonderful as it has been, needs to move aside and let the original form of filmmaking shine again. Imagine taking the advances of color film over the years and applying that to new black and white theory. The quality, the texture, the tone, the dimension. Boom! Enter Ansel Adams and Alfonso Cuarón. In my photographic studies in the 1990s, we spent a full year mastering black and white techniques. Some of these techniques included the wonderful theory of wavelength transmission. By using different colors of filters over the lens, yes, color filters in black and white photography, we allowed more of that wavelength of light to penetrate the film and less of the others. Each colored filter produces a different effect on the scene. The density of that specific color is darker on the negative, thus producing a lighter tone in the printed or final image. The complementary color will be affected in the opposite manner. In this way, we can have control of specific colors in black and white to increase contrast or to boost certain colors for tonal effect. Now, let's look at the master of this, Ansel Adams, undoubtedly the master of black and white photography. During the 1930s and 40s, he meticulously developed the zone system, which is a complicated process whereby the precious tones in a scene can be retained. Minor White, a famous photographer, writes about the zone system. The zone system of planned photography grew out of Ansel Adams' search for controls by which he could make prints that possessed the utmost illusion of substance and reality, regardless of lighting conditions. Although color photography wasn't popularized until a decade later, Ansel still chose the medium of black and white over color for a very specific reason: quality and tone control. Now, Alfonso Cuarón, he mastered the technique of detail and tones in his film Roma in 2018. Beautiful grain-free visuals with smooth tonal transitions and texture in as many areas as possible. His wide-angle, high-resolution and depth-of-focus imagery is full of rich, beautiful, creamy information which translates into a masterpiece when combined with his long takes and extended camera movements. Listen to what he has to say.
This film was always black and white from the moment it was conceived. It didn't make sense for me in color. I didn't even want to discuss that. You know, once in a while when we're there, she would say, "Oh, color is so beautiful. Would you consider?" I said, "Nope, color, nope. This is going to be black and white. I want this picture to have information in every single inch of the frame. Go through a whole range from the brightest highlight to the darkest black, going through the whole layers of grays that are in between. I wanted to take not every single scene, but every single frame of the 24 frames per second and approach every single frame as an Ansel Adams photograph, in the sense of the post-production that Ansel Adams will do to each photograph. When I used to do still photography in the darkroom, I would enjoy that, playing with pushing the levels of grace. And that's something that now we did it with these amazing digital tools, and that was pretty exciting.
Cuarón has taken the use of color filters for black and white to a different level by shooting in digital color and then manipulating the colors in the scene in order to translate to different tones in black and white. He thus finally controls the contrast of a scene. Like a visual symphony. Black and white magic that will give the filmgoer a brand new immersive experience. Something that color has, over time, lost. It's a new perspective on an old favorite. It's a breath of fresh air. It's a new experience for an overfed set of eyes.
Mnie matula zakazała, ojojoj, żebym chłopca nie kochała, ojojoj, a ja chłopca chaps za szyję będę kochać póki